Welcome to the Dental Handoff. I am Dr. Kelly Tanner, and today I have with me, you guys know her, Katrina Klein. Katrina, thanks for being on the show.
Good morning, Kelly. Thank you so much for inviting me on here. I loved chatting with you when I got to see you at RDH Under One Roof, and so this invite was so wonderful. I'm glad to have a chance to talk.
Well, what you do for people and the difference that you make in people's lives is priceless. So once I learned more about what you're doing, because that's what these conferences I think are all about. You get to sit down, you get to learn things about each other that you don't see on social media, and you get to connect as humans. And I just loved our time together. So thank you for sharing that. And so I always start with, why dental hygiene? What's your story?
So it's actually kind of funny. I had a child very young in life, and when she was maybe 4 or 5, I was 19. So she had a bubble that came up, what I thought was a blister just above E or F, and I thought, oh my gosh, I have burned this poor child with hot food, and so the bubble popped. Imagine that. She didn't have any pain. So I was like, okay, it's not about her teeth. And I didn't know, I had no idea that baby teeth needed to be flossed. We brushed her teeth. And there was no obvious decay that I could see, but we didn't floss her teeth. I didn't know. Yeah. And so this poor child ate lukewarm food for a month before, don't you know, that bubble came back. And so I called the doctor. I'm like, I know I have not burned her. I swear. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to turn me into the authorities. They're going to take away my child. And so they said, no, you just take her to the dentist. And so I took her to a pediatric dentist around the corner, and they said, oh no, she has an infection in her tooth. And I was devastated. I felt so small. I felt like the worst mother in the world. And how did nobody ever tell me that I needed to floss baby teeth? And so, I had a really great visit with the hygienist there, and she walked me through it all in a not judgy, not mean or condescending way. She was so encouraging and so kind. She made my daughter feel very comfortable. And it was then I was like, people need to know this. People need to know, and nobody knows. And so I just was like, yeah. Now, that also said, I was like, wait a minute, hold on. So you're smart. You have a great job. You work 4 days a week and you are self-sufficient. So I'm not going to pretend, and a lot of people do, but I'm not going to pretend it was altruistic. It was not just because I wanted to be, noble and all the things. I loved the idea, but it also fit my goals. Financially and all of the things. And it was something that was obtainable. Remember, I was a teen mom, so spending 6 years in college at that point was not an option. Yeah. So, it was something that I got into because I wanted to help people, and because it fit the lifestyle I wanted to lead. And then once I got into it, I fell in love. Yeah. I love hygiene. When I graduated, my folks were like, oh, do you want to finish and become a dentist? I was like, excuse me, I am finished. And absolutely not.
Dental hygienist is a complete sentence.
Yeah, that's correct. All I have to do is go in and assist with like a nasty extraction or something. And I'm like, no. You're
like, yeah, this confirms that.
No. And I love what dentists do. I'm not knocking dentists. What they do is amazing. And thank God somebody will do it. But I don't want to be the one. So no, I just fell in love with dental hygiene. I love what I can do for patients. And even though I've started a business that I have used to help a lot of folks, we can talk about that later, I am still clinical 3 days a week because I love it. That's so awesome. Until someone takes the joy out of my clinical practice, I'm going to keep doing it.
That's so good. You graduated. Did you go into clinical right away? And then what was your journey after that?
I went into clinical. I worked 3 days a week for the first 10 years, almost 11 years of my second daughter's life. I actually went in when she got into hygiene school when she was 11 months old. Let me tell you the adventure there. I
That
had a
was
whole
easy.
family.
I'm sure that was so easy.
Just super, super easy. Um, like 10 out of 10 recommend, okay? So, yeah, not the easiest thing with a mortgage and a family and all the things, but I did it, and, I did that for years, and I was, the hygienist that was just alone in my operatory, and I went to the online CEs, and I did whatever basic things I had to do to get my 25 units, and, I had great relationships with my patients and I loved what I did. I was not opposed to learning new things. So it was always kind of exciting to learn new things, but I really never got involved in associations. I never went to big meetings.
Mm.
I just was in my operatory doing my thing, being a family woman. And then there was a moment where I almost left dentistry
Mm.
because there was an office I was in for 9 years. It was kind of catty. It
Mm.
was a toxic environment for me. And I was like, I'm done. I started in the front desk, guys. I have been in dentistry since I was 19 years old. I started at the front office. I went and worked for Dental for
That
for 5 years.
Was that a Freudian slip?
Maybe. No, as an employee, fabulous company. Fabulous. Okay. I would have stayed there forever if it wasn't for dental hygiene. I'm not kidding. From this end of it, like, it's the eternal struggle, right? But I did that for 5 years. So I know what it feels like to be chained to a front desk. I know what it feels like to have to battle insurance companies over common sense. Like, I remember those days vividly, and it almost took me out. And then here I was in dental hygiene. I was alone. And I'm like, let's see. I clean teeth, and then I clean teeth, and then I cleaned some more teeth, and it became repetitive. And I loved what I did, but there was nothing else, and I needed more.
Yeah.
And that office, I got what I call the gift of desperation.
Mm.
And I was ready to get out. I mean, I went into this Facebook forum where everyone feels trapped. And I was like, that's it. I'm done with dentistry. I'm tired of being talked to and like I'm not worthy or that I'm not valuable. And I'm tired of it. And what else am I going to do? And I don't want to do real estate. So, like, what do you do? And this new hygienist came in. She had only been a hygienist for 2 years. She was having back pain. She was going to the chiropractor twice a week, getting massages every week. She's like, Katrina, I'm not going to be able to practice for 5 years, and I don't know what to do.
Mm.
And I looked at her while she was practicing. And when you work for Delta Dental, they do not want workers' comp claims put on their employees. Imagine that. So we had some ergonomic training. And I had always paid attention to ergonomics in hygiene school because I'm lefty. And the teachers are often right-handed. And so, you have a little bit of a dilemma. And I had to. And frankly, I had no backup plan. I couldn't afford to go back to college. So this is it. I had to make this work. And so I was going to do everything in my power to protect my body. And so I remembered things and I did things and I had no pain. And I looked at her and I said, well, why don't you do this or that? And I helped her a little bit. And I said, by the way, your loops are a mess and whatever. And then I was in bodybuilding. I was competing in bodybuilding at the time. And I grew half an inch. By the way, when you're 5 foot, 1/2 of an inch, half of an inch is great.
Yeah.
I was like, woohoo. And so I started
Why
bodybuilding.
did you grow a half inch? What was that
So
about?
I technically didn't grow. When you strengthen the body, when you grow muscles that hold up your body in good posture, the posture, the expression you stand taller, you sit taller, that's legit.
Hmm.
Suddenly, my body was in alignment. My vertebrae were being held together. It's not all about chiropractic. The chiropractors move your bones, but the muscles hold the bones where they're supposed to be.
Mm.
And so here I was standing taller. Half an inch is half an inch, folks. So
It's all you. I'm sure.
hey. And I didn't have any body pain. I never had body pain. And so I took this girl to the gym with me. And, 6 or 8 weeks later, she's like, Katrina, I can practice as long as I want to. I cannot believe that I feel this good. You have got to share this. And I thought about it. And what was the first words that came out of my mouth? And you're going to believe it because we do it. I said, I'm just a hygienist. Nobody's going to listen to me. Right. And it's that imposter syndrome. It's that whole, self-doubt. No one's going to listen to me. I'm an associate's degree hygienist. Okay. I've got my 4 years, but I don't have a bachelor's degree. I don't have a PhD. So who's going to listen to me? And so I thought, I don't know. And the more we worked together, the more she said, Katrina, you have to do this. And so initially, ErgoFitLife was going to be ErgoFit Hygiene, because I was going to just work with hygienists. And because I thought, well, hygienists will listen to me because I'm a hygienist.
Right.
And so I went and I got my ergonomic certification. So I'm a certified ergonomics assessment specialist, in case we're wondering what all those crazy letters mean.
CEAS.
Yeah. So I don't just look at people in the gingiva. I also look at them in the posture. It's a blessing and a curse. And then I also went and got my certified personal trainer certification, because I feel like if I'm going to be teaching people things, I'd better know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the very, very fortunate experience of having a trainer who was incredibly brilliant and taught me so many things. I actually helped him write a book on corrective exercise. And so, well, he was the author. I was absorbing all of it. And so with those things, I felt armed. Like I could say, yes, I have the letters. But what I also had was an incredibly insatiable thirst for all things biomechanics and posture and helping hygienists. And so here I was thinking I'm going to do ErgoFit Hygiene. And a good friend of mine, I don't know if I'm allowed to say names, but a friend of mine, Elijah Desmond from he has his group, Trapped in the Opera, whatever it's called now. He said, do you think that hygienists are the only ones that have body pain? Do you think they're the only ones that need help? And I was like, no. And so I expanded that knowledge and I did a deep dive into, what doctors go through and what assistants go through. And I already know what front desk people go through. And ErgoFitLife was born. And here I am 8 years later. And I'm still a hygienist. And I still don't have my PhD. And I still don't have a bachelor's degree. But you know what I'm doing? I feel like I'm really making an impact because I'm helping a ton of people.
Okay, so rewind just a few. No. This is good. This is good, because some of the lesson, I think, in this, when you're saying that you went from just a hygienist and then you went from getting your certification in posture and I want to say physical therapy, but it's not, personal training. Looking back, do you really think, so if you take those things and you kind of remove them from your brain, do you think that you were ready either way and just had to prove to yourself through the certifications?
Yes and no. Yeah, because I do feel that having the certifications is important, because while I knew a lot of things already, there were things I learned. And so those little things, it's just like, a dental assistant can watch a hygienist and they understand, to a degree, what we're doing. But it's the way that we learn to hold a scaler in our hand.
Yeah.
It's the way that we know which end of that scaler to use, how to use the toe versus, like there are nuances that you don't learn unless you go through the formal education. So yes, I felt ready. Was I? I probably needed to learn those extra little things, understanding how many inches you're supposed to reach, or how many inches of space between you and the space behind you, or whatever, all those little things. It not just gives you the confidence, but it gives you the solid foundation to be able to say, that's what's going on, and feel confident about it. So no.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I totally hear that. And because sometimes also too, you have folks who have a PhD, who have 25 other things, and they still don't feel ready. So you can have the converse as well, because certainly it all adds value. But when you look back at the common denominator of what was really in their heart, I think that they were ready on some level, but they felt like they needed it to augment. So I was just curious about your journey. Now you are taking this and you're applying this not only to dental hygienists, but also to dental teams, which, I work with dental teams too. And I can't imagine, like, from front office to back office, how impactful this must be, because sitting at a desk all day, even though front office is still up, down, everywhere, doing all the things, right? But even getting back into that position, how impactful that is to a person So tell me more about what you do for teams.
Well, so what I do is I go into or go into the offices and I work with clinicians and front desk staff, because we think that they sit and they get up. It's really not. They're chained and they're sticking their legs under their legs and all these things. It's a hot mess up front too.
Mm,
Um, so um, I go in and I work with the person in their space, whatever that space looks like. As an assistant, it's very different from doctoring and from hygienisting.
yeah.
And so in their space, I work with them with their body. Put your arm this way, put the patient head that way, their equipment, move the chair this way. Let's get you sitting properly in this chair, all the things. And then practicing with them in that capacity so that they feel comfortable to continue going forward. Right. And we spend the day together or the morning together, whatever they have to give me. I will take a red eye fly and be there and like do whatever I got to do so I can have as much time as possible. And then that way we go into lunch hour and I do a lecture with them, where I talk about all the things we didn't get to talk about maybe in their operatory because they're
Mhm.
distracted, have patients, all the things. And so I kind of do like a 1 hour version of my ergonomics lecture, and then we go back and we practice some more. And I bring all my gadgets and all my toys because, of course, as an ergonomics specialist, I have all these fun toys. And like I bring my cordless polisher and I bring my cordies and I bring my ergonomic loops, and I'm like, just put them on your face. Okay. See what it feels like. And they all go, oh, that's weird, or whatever the thing is. And some people are like, I'm good. Okay, that's fine. But here's your opportunity. How many people like myself for 10 years don't go to trade show floors? They don't go to big association
Yeah.
meetings.
Yeah. There's so many people.
You know, I used the same pair of loops for, 13 years, 12 years, whatever it was. And they worked, but they didn't, because they
Yeah.
stopped doing the thing that I needed them to do because there was something that did it better. We don't use the same instruments. We adapt, we learn about new things, whatever. So here's an opportunity to bring some toys in. If it's a local office, I bring my saddle stool in.
Right.
For all you Sacramento people.
I
But
mean, you don't travel with that. I mean, like
it's funny. It doesn't actually fit in the little carry-on thing. I
I was
keep
just
telling
imagining this.
not even the first class ones. I mean, like I would try, but no, it doesn't work. Um, so yeah, I go and I do it. And then at the end of the day, we say our goodbyes, we practice stretches, all the things. And then I send a report saying, here's what I found that day. Here's what I observed. Here's the things that we worked on. Here are the recommendations I make in the future for either equipment or, strategies, ergonomic strategies. Don't forget, put this patient head this way or whatever. So that, when you're in an operatory and you got a patient in the chair, it's already stressful enough to like have somebody watching you. It's just like in hygiene school, you're like, quit
Oh, yeah.
watching me. It's like,
Like,
and
stop. I hated that.
right. Yeah. Like somebody's watching you. So that's why I spend like the day there. Right. So that they're comfortable. After like the first 10 minutes or so, we break down okay, whatever, I'm going to do my thing. And so they get comfortable, but you're not going to absorb everything I say all day. So this kind of gives people like bullet points. Here's what we need to work on. And you can take one or you can take them all and try to master them at the same time if you're like that talented. But take one at a time or whatever. And okay, I've stopped putting my chicken wing out. I'm going to try the next line item. And so they have actionable things to do where they can, get better. Because my goal is I don't want them to need me. I don't
Yeah.
want them to have the tools. Keep following me on social because it's fun. But
Yeah, no, I love your social media is just it's right sized. I love the one where you're aligning the PID to the patient. And you're like, this isn't right. This is just a simple thing that we don't think about because we're all crunched over and we're trying to get the
yeah.
right shot and bisect the angle and all the things.
Yeah. It's just so little. It's all these little things. With ergonomics, it's almost always little. There's a few big things, okay, but it comes down to investment. And kind of like when we were talking at RDH under one roof. You were kind enough to share some of your wisdom with me. Thank goodness you do the coaching that you do, and you validated my feelings about what I do. And I appreciate that because it reminded me that sometimes we just need somebody to remind us that the investment that we're making into things, whether it's our business or our coaching or our ergonomic equipment, you know, the ROI isn't in a single reimbursable procedure code. It
Mm-hmm.
is in every single procedure code that we bill.
Yeah.
And I want people to like let that sink in, like, oh my God, I don't want to spend another $2,000 on ergonomic loops. How many more procedure codes can you do if you feel better? If you don't have fatigue, if you don't have pain?
Yeah.
How about not how many more? How about how much less money are you going to spend at the chiropractor or the massage therapist or on Advil unwind on Wednesday because you have to wine Wednesday it up to get to Thursday? Okay.
Yeah. And then you can be a better mom, a better dad, a better partner, a
Clinician.
better everything. Like it affects everything. Cause I'm sitting here thinking, $2,000 as compared to what?
Right.
It's compared to what and not doing it because when you look at burnout, when you look at our workforce, when you look at the amount of people in pain that don't realize that this repetitive motion that they're doing, that they don't even know that they're doing. And you have someone come in to say, hey, do this like this. It's just little tiny adjustments that then
Yeah.
become muscle memory. But what have you done? You've saved someone from leaving the profession, that office. When you lose just one, not just one, but a dental assistant, it costs a practice about $75,000-$80,000 a year. So
Yeah.
can't even imagine a hygienist, can't even imagine a front office person. So why wouldn't you invest in your team to feel better? That to me, as a doc, as a DSO, it means I'm telling them the culture of the practice, I care. And there's nothing else that says that more about let me help you with your body and your health. There's nothing more important than that.
Well, and not only that, like think about it, like if you're an owner or whatever, even for you independently, and all you care about is the dollars, okay? And we're not going to say that that's the case, but if that's the case,
Mhm.
look, I don't have the money to spend on this, okay? So you got to make it where it's worth my while. How much is a workers' comp claim?
Mm.
Okay, the average workers' comp cost on an employer is that employee's annual salary. It
Oh,
it's
wow.
it's incredibly expensive by the time you're done, like you said, replacing somebody, paying for all the things, your workers' comp goes up because it does. That's what happens when you file a claim. We all
Yeah,
know that.
yeah,
It is expensive to lose an employee, not to mention lost production because they're not in.
right.
There is a financial ouch for not doing these things, as opposed to making the investment up front. Suddenly, imagine this team that has high energy, is not complaining. They're not sitting in the commiseration station that I call the break room. Um, they're
Misery.
not in there. Yeah, it's just it's a thing. I have all these little words. Um, they're not sitting on social media scrolling for a new job in real estate, trying to figure out how to get out of dentistry. Instead, they're advocating for their patients being the best hygienist that they can be. They're showing that patient love. They're not giving you side eye when you ask for an extra PA, because they have the energy. It's not a big deal,
Yeah, less
right?
and then they're showing up to work. They're
They're
less
not calling out.
missing days because of back pain, wrist pain, all the pains, headaches,
Yeah.
migraines. I'm sure that you improve migraines.
I mean, it's overall, we see it with our patients. Like you look at little kids, okay, and here we are full circle back to little kids. So you see, this is one thing I learned about the importance of dentistry with in the world, and adults are really good at masking things, right? Kids are not good at that. They don't have filters. Thank God. You see a little kid come in and they've got baby bottle rot, for example. They've got chronic pain all over the place, all over the place. Parents come in, they're like, man, this kid is a terror. All they do is whine and cry, and they're grumpy all the time, whatever the thing is. They come in, they get their mouth fixed. We know the importance of it. We know that this kid's whole demeanor is probably going to change.
Yeah,
We know this because they're not going to be in pain all the time, right? You
right.
do the whole, you do the thing, you fix all the things. The parents come back for their 6-week post-op check and they say, this is a whole new kid.
Mm.
Do you want a whole new team? Because you work better, happier, smarter. You don't make errors. 70 the statistic on errors in the workplace with chronically fatigued employees is 70%. 70. So
Wow.
like that's when errors happen, is when people are tired. Who has worked tired? Like everybody. Like half the time we resent our 4 o'clock patient for walking in the door.
Yes, that's so true.
It's funny because it's true, but it's not, because that poor patient, like, what are we doing? So, I mean, I'm not saying it's all, oh, this is the only way to do it, but there is an ROI and it's tangible, but it's not tangible in ways that you can tally up on a sheet,
Right.
you know?
It's not quantifiable. What is the most, would you say, with an example of a person you've worked with, what is the most life-changing thing that's happened for them?
Oh my gosh. So I've had a lot of really good feedback. Most of the people that, when you help somebody, you notice how even in dentistry, you fix someone's tooth, they come back 6 months later. How is that crown that was hurting you? Right? You're like, oh yeah, I forgot it was even there. People don't boast about things like this all the time. So it's hard
Yeah.
to get people to 6 months later go, oh yeah, that was great. So I'm really fortunate that I've got some good feedback. Um, but honestly, that first hygienist that said to me, I can practice as long as I want to, you saved my career. That was probably the most impactful to me because of my season, the season I was in needing to know if this was something that was a viable thing to do. Like, is
Yeah.
somebody even gonna, is this gonna work? And from there, I started creating workout programs for people to improve their posture, correct their posture, and get stronger and all the things. And at that time, I was giving my program away. I would spend so many hours just giving it away just because I needed to know, even though I knew I needed that validation.
Yeah.
Is it worth it? And it was worth it to her. She would have paid whatever I asked, but I needed to know, is it worth it?
Yeah.
And so someone like you came along and said, what are you doing? You're doing this? Like, what? Yeah, yes. It's working. You should be compensated for that. And someone back then, I asked, would people do this? And she said, absolutely.
Yeah. And
And
they are. So I mean, what a cool thing. I just love to hear the stories about how it started, where it is and where it's going. What kinds of things, I know that you offer like one-on-one training and programs for dental offices. What else are you doing?
um, I do team ergonomics training. I do personal training programs virtually. So, like, I
That's so
create the
cool.
workout program. I track progress with the person. My goal is not to make people bodybuilders. I mean, I'm a bodybuilder. I get that, but that's not my goal. My goal is to get people out of pain, and whatever else they want to do. So if they want to, lose some body fat, great. We'll help you do that. I have the knowledge. Why not? If they just want to get out of pain, that's what we focus on. And so it's a 3-month program, and I create a program and they do it. And we talk every week. We video chat. I take the pictures, all the things. So, there's accountability there. And I think
Mhm.
that's a big missing link with virtual training. A lot of the times is anybody can go on an app and like put in their goals, and you're like, okay, this is what I want to do. But nobody's keeping track of me.
Yeah.
Nobody's, did you get to the gym this week, Susie? Like,
Did you get water?
yeah, what's going on? And so there's that accountability factor. I also do a lot of speaking. So I go to study clubs and I speak, association meetings.
That's
I've
cool.
spoken at some DSO, like Employee Appreciation Month. They have, celebrations to celebrate their employees, to show them, hey, listen, we appreciate all that you do.
That's
And
cool.
so I've gone into different, situations like that where I've spoken for groups like that, and just give. I'm on social media, so I have a group and a Facebook group and a page where I give all kinds of tips daily, and so I am constantly answering questions. Hey, I heard about this. I heard about that. And my goal is to be the unbiased, objective person that people can trust to get information.
Mm,
Like if you
yeah,
need
we need that. We need that. We all need that in our lives to say, hey, what can I do better? And people call you on it. I mean, in a kind way, but it's just like, didn't you say you wanted to do that?
right. Or even like equipment. People ask me, so
Oh
I
yeah.
saw this posture brace. What do you think about that? And it's like, here you go. And I answer all these questions. Like, I don't care what the question is. I'm going to answer it because somebody has a question about something that might help them. I want to help. The reality is that I'm in California. I am a nut about practicing comprehensive hygiene. Like, I just love it. It just feeds my soul and makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
Yes.
I can honestly make plenty of money doing just hygiene. I do this because I love it. It makes me happy to help people. And it has become a passion that I'm willing to fly red eyes to North Carolina to do retreats and talk to people. Wink, wink. Miss Kelly Tanner.
Yeah, I have a retreat coming up in May next year. So, maybe you'll see Katrina there.
That would be amazing. Yeah. So like, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to get off a plane at 6 o'clock and go in and be in an office at 8 o'clock in the morning so that I can help people. And it's really about that. Is I want to help people in this profession.
Yeah.
My youngest daughter is now entering her sophomore year in college. I have no more kids at home, and so now I have this thing where I can go out and talk and be with people and help people in a way that doesn't require me to be at home all the time. Except my poor dog misses me. That's another thing for another day, right? That's another conversation.
We're going to talk about how do you do work-life balance when you feel guilty and how to thwart that off. We're going to do another episode.
We should do that.
I know. I'm so grateful for you. I mean, you're following your heart, and that's when I think the world shows up for you with anything in life, no matter what it is, when you follow your heart. So I'm proud of you. Thank you for the work that you're doing to help all of us. And if you want to get in touch with Katrina, there's information in the show notes. You need to follow her social media because it is brilliant. I absolutely just look forward to. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never thought about that. What? I need you like in my pocket. I need like a Katrina pocket version.
Well, it is. I mean, these fit in your pocket, right? So
That's true. That's true. I know, but it's like, can you watch me for a minute to just
download me? Yeah, I can watch you. I can come.
And I'd be like, stop watching me.
I know. She's like, I want you, but I don't want you. Like,
I know. Just don't look at me. Just look over there and act like you're not doing it. It's like hygiene school. But thank you so much for being on today. I will definitely bring you back, and I hope to see you soon. So thank you so much. And all the listeners out there, I always ask for a favor from you to go on to Apple, give us a 5-star rating, because Apple's the one that the metrics are the one that matters. And then go on over to YouTube, subscribe, give the subscribe button the finger, press it. So other people like you who know and you like the content, it recommends us. So thank you for everyone, for all that you do to make a difference in people's lives every day. Be well, my friends. Katrina, I will see you soon, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye.